Oh, hi. This new episode of YouTube Art School is going to be all about speed. So let's hurry and get right into it. I'll show you how pros and experienced artists get so quick at pumping out new paintings and drawings. Because it's something that you can actually do too, if you just know how. Uh-oh, quickly. Let's get this class started. Alright, class is in session. Pay attention and pay the class fee of either 1 like or 1 sub. You'll see it's good value for the money. So, I see you have a need for speed. I hear you. I think we all get to this point as artists where we've learned the basics, and then some. And then we can bang out some drawings that we're relatively happy with, but everything seems to take so damn long. I felt so inadequate when I started working as a game developer, always comparing myself to other artists on the team who seemed to be able, to do twice as much with the same amount of time. And that wasn't a new feeling. Before I got faster, it always felt to me like things were taking too long. And it's the #1 question that my students always ask, like, how did I do it? How do you get to the point where speed is no longer a concern as an artist? Now, the first thing to realize is that drawing faster is actually not about moving your, hands faster or anything like that. Instead, it's about avoiding to waste time. Because imagine you're driving on a road that's littered with trees that have fallen over and big branches blocking your way. As you drive, you'll probably have to take detours to go around them or get out of your car and remove the obstacles before you can keep going. And all of that takes longer than it would take you if you just had a clear road ahead of you, right? So how do we clear the road? Well, the first obstacle on your path to getting faster might be your method, what I usually refer to as your recipe when working. I teach all sorts of recipes for free here on the channel, like this class showing how to do cell shading. That's one example. But the point of these is to have a list of steps that you follow, so that there's less to think about throughout the process, less guesswork, just like when cooking using a recipe from a book. When you use the same recipe over and over again, it quickly becomes easy to remember by heart, right? And well, that only allows you to bake that batch of cookies faster, or with art, color that drawing faster. Eventually, of course, you'll probably start to customize it to your liking, and make it your own, the method that is, which will all contribute to you getting faster at it. So here's my advice. Find a method that you like and stick to it. Like for long enough. Find one that just speaks to you, one for which you like the results, of course, and just do that from now on. And you'll see, not having that hesitation, not wondering what the next steps should be, is going to save you a ton of time and dramatically increase your speed. But that's just one of 5 tips that I have for you, and each of these will contribute just as much. So here's the next one. Focus your efforts. What? We're artists, so we think, initially at least, that everything's got to be perfect. We'll render everything and add details to every corner of our artwork so that everything looks print ready when zoomed in at 1000%. But you don't need to do that. And the reason is the same as why you yourself don't spend much time looking at other people's artwork. Like when you're browsing Instagram or Twitter, how long do you think you look at any single post on average? 1 second? 1, 2, 3, 4? 5 seconds maybe if it really catches your attention, but that starts to get pretty long. My point is, it's not a lot usually, so you can expect others to behave the same way towards your own art. So what's the point of spending dozens of hours rendering everything if nobody will see it really? It's a waste of time is what it is, so my recommendation will always be to focus your efforts on what people will actually notice. And what they actually do notice is whatever your focal point is, and usually it's immediate surroundings. So for most drawings featuring a character, the focal point will tend to be the face, because this is how we communicate with people, looking at their face. So I would spend roughly like 70% of the time working on the face and torso, the immediate surrounding of the focal point, and maybe like 30% working on everything else, including the background, if any. This may be a little extreme of an example, but this painting, at first glance looks pretty finished, right? But if I zoom in, you can clearly see I left the background and the lower body pretty rough, since those details are relatively far away from my focal point, again, the head of the character, and most people won't actually notice them anyways. It's a deliberate choice that I make to stop myself from rendering everything and taking potentially 5 times longer than it would normally take me if I didn't care about being more productive. Now, if you're getting paid to paint a game splash screen maybe, then that's another story, and you should probably render it longer, since people will stare at it much longer. But my point is to know your audience. If you're just posting online, you have mere seconds to grab people's attention, so spend your time wisely. And well, a very wise way to spend your time is by learning art with my art program. Check the link in the video description, and you can actually grab it at the cheapest that it's been in years until the end of the month to celebrate its 7-year anniversary. 7 years of art school. And everything seems like it costs more now, and the price of the program has been going up in the last 2 years as I kept adding content. But on top of the sale, I've actually decided to reduce the base price of the program to allow even more students to join and get a complete university level art education for less than the price of a basic pen tablet. I don't want you to miss out on this. Check the link down below. There's still time. All right, plug over. So let's check out the third tip that I have for you, which is to know your tools. The rest will go a little faster, but it's just as important. So knowing your tools here means to get used to them. I always see students collecting millions of brushes from every artist they know, and I think that's a fantastic way to never improve your speed. Brushes, just like all traditional tools, they each have a learning curve. Even when I create a new custom brush for myself, it'll usually take me a few paintings worth of practice before I'm actually fully comfortable with it. So I always recommend having a handful of brushes, maybe a dozen or 2 dozens at most, unless you're very experienced, and stick to those. Just like you'll get faster sticking to the same recipe, stick to the same tools too. If you're looking for all the brushes that you should really need to paint like I do, I actually give my brush set away for free, and you can find the link down in the description below. The starter brush set, maybe that'll help. Now, the fourth tip, let's move on, will be a boring one, but one that needs repeating over and over again. Don't guess when you paint. If you find yourself having to guess what a certain thing should look like, you're actively wasting time. Find a reference instead and copy from that. There's no shame in using references. Every pro artist does it, way more than you probably think. The only time it should really be fine to not use one is when you're very confident that you can draw or paint the thing from memory. This will happen obviously more and more as you gain experience, but early on in your art journey, you should be working almost exclusively from references if you want to both draw faster and progress faster. Win-win. And then finally, the last tip for this video as I wrap up a new painting in the background here will be to work confidently. I know what you're thinking. I can't work confidently if I'm not confident. Wrong! You most definitely can and should to improve your speed. What I mean here is to stop relying on a near infinity of layers, when you paint, or stop using chicken scratch lines when you're drawing. I would challenge you to actually do the complete opposite for a while, however uncomfortable that might be initially. If you want to go faster, that is. Force yourself to use only like 5 or 6 layers at most for a while. Maybe force yourself to only draw long, confident lines instead of a bunch of tiny short lines. Or maybe if we're talking more traditional art, stop using a pencil and maybe switch to a pen where you can't erase. I know you're already telling yourself that's crazy and you probably won't do it. But if you do for a couple of months, just like I did many years ago, I tried all of that. It'll blow your mind just how well faking it until you make it is actually the best way to make it in the first place. When you commit to something, when you just go for it and stop giving yourself a way out to undo a bunch of work, your decision-making process changes completely, and you'll learn to live with your decisions and just make the best out of them. And you'll actually start to more carefully do everything, which just removes the need to redo anything most of the time. And of course, this also translates to faster speed overall. Combine everything that we covered in the last 10 minutes, and you should be able to draw or paint a heck of a lot faster. Those are the secrets. So if you want to go faster, just gotta do it. Good luck. And that's gonna be it for this week's class. Hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments if it was, or if you have any questions, since I still read all the comments. And I appreciate them. And now, YouTube thinks that you'll probably like these other videos, so go check them out to see if that's true. All right, bye.